Yes mates, how's it going? My name's Lee and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to go from my pre-season watch list, highlighting a few different players and a few different teams. Who's caught my attention? Who's a little bit overhyped? Watch the video to find out. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Nice little click down below. One little click, mate. Please, mate. Helps me out a ton. Anyway, let's rock and roll. So these are the midfielders that have caught my eye, or players that I've lost a bit of interest in throughout this early pre-season friendlies. First up, Bruno. Oh mate, I love Bruno. He is the man. And I think we might be getting the old Bruno back. He's got the armband now. He's got more responsibility. And I think he's going to thrive under it. Like I really, really do. Man United deployed this kind of high press and Bruno was kind of leading it. He was very, very aggressive. He played really high up. I also noticed it was Bruno who was playing further forward with Mount kind of sitting back. He did get a little bit lucky with his goal, do some bang average goalkeeping, Ramsdale in goal. But it was a decent left foot strike, edge of the box. He just kind of cuts in from the right wing, smacks it left foot, smashes it bottom corner. I think for 8.5 mil, I think he might be worth a do. You know, I think he might be worth a go, especially if we get anywhere near that Bruno from a couple seasons ago. Still on penalties, still the main creator of the team, even though Mount has come in. If we get a striker, any competent striker, then we're Bruno Fernandes, mate. Easy pick, easy pick. And I think he could easily be my team right now. Moving on to Jared Bowen, and he's getting a lot of hype right now, and he's a bit of a weird one. Bang average last season, but he's looked pretty good pre-season, mate. That's all I can say. Definitely entered my thinking, and he's someone I will be keeping an eye on between now and the start of game week 1. I think he's got like 3 goals, 2 assists so far in pre-season. They've not played anyone of real note right as of yet, but you've got you can only play who you're up against. So definitely someone like who I'm keeping my eye on. The opening 5 are a bit of a hit and miss actually. They've got Bournemouth and Luton kind of mixed in with City, Chelsea, Brighton. I think they're their first 5. Not in that order though. He might be worth a punt. Like he really might be worth a punt. He's definitely someone to keep an eye on in pre-season because his ownership I still think will be relatively low come game week 1. It might be worth a little cheeky punt, mate. It might be worth a little cheeky punt. Definitely one to keep an eye on. Not for me right now, but I will definitely be keeping an eye on him. And the last player who has caught my attention was Jadon Sancho. I just thought he looked sharp. I thought he looked pretty good, mate. He was playing like a false 9, kind of drifting round. Ball gets played over the top and he just absolutely burns Gabriel one-on-one with Ramsdale and just absolutely smashes it top bins near post. I think Ramsdale should do better. I don't think he's great goalkeeping. I think a goalkeeper should do better at their near post and shouldn't get beat at the near post. I just didn't get a better view, so I don't know how close it was to the keeper. Sometimes, like Aguero used to do it when he kind of goes in and he smashes it top bins on like keeper's near side, and it's that high and that powerful that the keeper just can't get up to it. Don't think for a second like he's in my current draft though. Like he's just someone who's caught my attention. You know what I mean? Like 100%. Like he's just someone who has caught my attention because I'm obviously a Man United fan. So any chance I can get to talk about Man United, I'm all about that, mate. If we do sign a striker because he was playing this false 9 kind of role, which I do think we'll sign Højlund. If we do sign a striker, he is going to drop down the pecking order. It'll become 3rd, 4th choice option on the wings or like potentially in that false 9. I just don't think he can play the false 9. I think just because it's a pre-season, like he's done quite well. But if we sign a striker, it just goes down massively for me. And it's a shame because there's a player in there. I just don't think we've seen it right now. On to some mids who I've lost a little bit of interest in. And first up is Odegaard. He was in my first draft and just didn't look up to the pace, mate. Like, we've played a couple more games in pre-season and Odegaard just didn't look sharp. He didn't look on it. Kobe Mainoo just bossed the midfield. Havertz and Odegaard just didn't look up for it, mate. They just didn't look sharp. But obviously it's still quite early on for them. I don't think he's played a ton of pre-season minutes yet, Odegaard. Definitely one to keep an eye on. I still think he's going to be a solid pick. I will be keeping an eye on Arsenal this pre-season. But if I was to pick 2 mids from Arsenal, like going into game week 1, Saka's obviously number 1. But probably as of right now, I think Martinelli's took over Odegaard in that second spot. He's more of a goal threat. He's cheaper. And although he's got minutes risk due to Trossard, I just don't think Odegaard looked at it, to be honest with you, mate. Like, it's just one of those. And we know what Martinelli's like. He's a strong start to the season. And if that continues, then, you know what I mean? Like Saka and Martinelli, I'm a picks for the Arsenal mids. So do keep it in mind. It's just one of those. I think Odegaard will kind of pick up some fitness and some form, and he will get sharper going into game week 1. But as of right now, just lost a little bit of interest in him. And Ciso, maybe a little bit harsh, but it looks like minutes are going to be an issue. And with European fixtures, there's going to be a lot of rotation. We've seen Brighton now sign a few players. I think they've got decent depth in a lot of the attacking positions. And I think Enciso might be one of the players that does get rotated. I think Lallana's going to be a threat to his minutes. João Pedro, they've still got Welbeck, Evan Ferguson. I think probably the only one who's not going to be rotated as much as Mitoma, but I still think he'll suffer from it. 5.5, he might be worth a bit of a punt, but for me, I just don't see me going for an Enciso anymore like he was on my radar. But he's just dropped down a little bit, and I just need to see, especially like early on, I want minutes. I want players that are going to play. I want regular players, and that's what I'm more concerned about. If I've got a team full of players who play 90 minutes, I'd rather that than players that kind of get risk of rotation and things like that. So that's definitely something to consider early on. Pick players who are going to play 90 minutes. If you're on the pitch, you've got more chance of scoring, more chance of assists. And the last player who I've lost a bit of interest in is Salah. Again, probably a little bit harsh, mate, but they played a friendly the other day, and it's a German side, I think, at Karlsruhe, and they beat them 4-2, and Salah only got an assist. If Liverpool are scoring 4 goals, I expect Salah to be getting a hat-trick, do you know what I mean? So, especially for 12.5 mil, I want a hat-trick every other game. And I want him to be a potential captain pick as well. And I just don't see him being that. Like, even though they've got a good game week 2 fixture in Bournemouth, I just don't see him as a captain pick. Like, there are still other options out there, and I think it's going to be perma-cap Haaland, especially early on. You know, and it like depends on what kind of tactics and formations that they're playing in, and it looks like they're sticking to how they played back end of the season. Salah's just so far out wide. You know, I might make a video on Salah, doing a bit of a mini stats deep dive. I made one on Kane a few days ago, maybe it was last week. I'll leave a link up here somewhere. Feel free to watch it. It's just kind of looking at some stats, like the one about Kane, kind of looking at his record against the teams got in the opening fixtures, some stats, how he did last season. We obviously know like he did quite well. So I think I might do the same for Salah. So stay tuned for that, subscribe and turn notifications on and all that kind of jazz. Stay tuned for something like that. And usually when I do these kind of things, that's when players start entering my thought process of like, am I not giving these players as much attention as I should? Because when I did the Kane video, I was like, I kind of want Kane now. And I think I'll do the same with Salah, FPL legend, do you know what I mean? So I'll end up making this video when I really want Salah on my team. And what we all know is a fast starter. Like, we all know he's got a good record against Chelsea and most teams in the league. And I think the way Liverpool have signed, if they are going to change tactics and change formations, I think they will be more dominant in games. And if Salah's anywhere close to how he was, even last season, he got something like 20 goals, do you know what I mean? 10 assists. It's a great return. I'm probably being a little bit harsh on this one, but I just wanted to include someone else just to kind of say, everyone's fair game, mate. Everyone's fair game. And it's one of them. You win some and you lose some. And right now, Salah is currently losing. What are you going to do about it? Am I being too harsh on Salah? Leave a comment down below. Let's have a little chat. Right, now we've got the forwards who are on my pre-season watch list. So first up, we've got the players who have caught my attention. First up, we've got João Pedro. Not played a lot of pre-season, but he looked pretty alive against Chelsea. I think he only played about 35 minutes. Like, he came on for Welbeck, I think. And although he didn't start, Brighton actually got a penalty and he took it whilst Gross was on the pitch. But Jory's still out. I don't know where he's going to play. I don't know how many minutes he's going to get. I still think he's a bit of a risk, but he's definitely caught my attention, and someone definitely that I'm going to keep my eye on between now and game week 1. Especially with Brighton's fixtures, the first opening 3 look really, really good for attacking returns. and maybe João Pedro is a way, like especially a cheap way to kind of bolster the front line. However, you know, it does take away the appeal of other forwards such as Evan Ferguson or Welbeck. Especially with João Pedro doing well, I think it will impact their minutes as well, because like Evan Ferguson was definitely someone I was looking at, and if João Pedro is going to be the one potentially on penalties, and he's and he might take minutes away from Ferguson, I'm not sure if I want to risk that. I want players who are going to play 90 minutes, and Evan Ferguson might not be the one, João Pedro might not be the one, but as of right now, they're on my radar for sure. On to a couple of Chelsea boys, and first up in Nkunku. It looks like he's starting a little bit deeper. So we've got Nicholas Jackson as the main number 9, and Nkunku's more of like a number 10, kind of floating around. But it allows him to kind of drift and kind of find weak spots, a bit like he did RB Leipzig as well. He started pretty well. He's got a couple of goal involvements, and he's looked generally pretty bright for the games. Especially the bits I've seen him. I haven't seen all of them. I've just kind of seen little clips here and there. Definitely on my radar. And although Chelsea have got Liverpool game week 1, they got West Ham second game in game week 2, but then kind of game week 3 they've got a decent little run. If you go for someone like a Jesus who's gone down in my radar, but if you've got like an Ollie Watkins or someone around that kind of bracket, going down to like an Nkunku in game week 3 could be a real option moving forward. Definitely something I'm going to keep an eye on, and he might be the penalty taker for Chelsea. Definitely one to keep an eye on, and I'll be paying close attention to Chelsea, and particularly Nkunku and Nicholas Jackson for these pre-season friendlies. Which brings me nicely on to Nicholas Jackson. He's got a few goal involvements, and he looks like he's going to be the main number 9, the out-and-out striker. You like more of like a traditional striker, like your old school kind of player. He had a decent record at Villarreal, and if he kind of carries that on, I think for 7 mil, like he might be worth a bit of a punt, you know. And if you've got a 7 million striker, like the main striker for supposedly one of the top teams in England, I think it's worth a punt, mate. Like we all know Poch is a more attacking coach. His fullbacks play a large part in it, like they get balls in the box, and if he can kind of capitalise on that, especially at early doors, I think people might flood towards him. Keep an eye on him. Like I said with Nkunku, like game week 3 kind of onwards, they've got a decent little run. If you've got a Jesus or an Ollie Watkins who don't like the kind of doing anything, downgrading someone like an Nkunku or Jackson is a very viable option right now, and definitely something I'm thinking about. Because from game week 3, Chelsea have got Luton, Forest and Bournemouth in that order. Three really good games in a row. Think about it, mate. Just think about it. That's all I'm saying. So on to players that have kind of gone down on my radar, and you notice there's only 2. Not too many strikers and not too many forwards. I've lost a bit of interest in. Like I haven't had my eye on many forwards or many strikers, so it's difficult for me to kind of lose interest in a few. You know, there aren't many that I'm kind of looking at. Obviously, Haaland, who's he didn't play in their friendly, or he didn't start at least, but I think he'll start game week 1. Ollie Watkins is definitely on my radar. Evan Ferguson, who I could potentially put in here, but I don't think he's 100% fit. He hasn't played a lot of pre-season minutes, if any at all, right now, so I'm not too concerned about that. I've only got 2 for now in Jesus and Mitrovic, and I'll give you some reasons why as to why I've kind of put them in there. But yeah, for right now, there's only 2 players or 2 forwards that I've lost a bit of interest in, and first up is Gabby Jesus. It's the same with all Arsenal players. I think it's kind of recency bias because I watched him last night. Just was not impressed with him at all. He just didn't look sharp. Not many Arsenal players look fit. Like not many Arsenal players look sharp. Probably the only one who looked decent, like in my opinion, was Smith Rowe. Like I thought Smith Rowe, he's shown a couple of glimpses. Like he's shown some flashes actually. Like it caught me by surprise a little bit. Jesus obviously came on quite late, but I just didn't see it. And I'm still not fully convinced by him. You know, like I see people kind of going for it and kind of flooding in on him. I'm still not convinced. I think his main selling point is his price point. That is literally it. I think having that 8 million price bracket allows you to downgrade to anyone in the game, basically. And I think that's his main selling point. But if I want an 8 million striker, I'd rather get Ollie Watkins. They've got Newcastle away first game. They battered him last game. Like it was one of the most like one-sided games I've seen last season. So don't think for a minute that Jesus is the only option. I tell you, Ollie Watkins, I think people are going to realise the thing is with Ollie Watkins is main man on penalties, almost talismanic for Aston Villa. They're playing well. They've signed some good players. people forget that they're having a pretty good window, you know. Pau Torres, Tielemans, Moussa Diaby signed the other day. They've got some really, really good options. Definitely one to keep an eye on, and I'm just not interested in Jesus. He was in my team in my initial draft. I kind of got caught up in the hype. I'm gone, mate. I'm on Ollie Watkins, and that's the way I'm going to be for the foreseeable future, unless anything kind of jumps out to me. But give Ollie Watkins a chance. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. And then Mitrovic, he's not priced 5.5, he's 7.5, and you know, I don't even think he's played any preseason minutes, but all this kind of interest from Saudi. He wants the moolahs, mate. He wants the money. And I think he's a little bit miffed that he can't get a big paycheck. I'm not a fan. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's kind of a lose-lose for Fulham, he either goes to Saudi, and obviously like they lose a good striker in Mitrovic, or he stays and he throws a bit of a paddy, like he throws his dummy out of the pram and blah blah blah. But yeah, definitely off my radar. He's only owned by about 5% of the game, and I'm surprised it's that much. Get rid. But if he does go, a player that does increase in on my radar is Vinicius. Only valued at 5 million. Looks like he will be number 9 because he played whilst Mitrovic was out. But if they get a decent fee for Mitrovic, it's looking about 40 million or so. Who can they actually buy? Seriously, like leave a comment down below. Like who can they buy for 40 mil? Who can replace what Mitrovic did for them? So powerful, like so talismanic for them. Like horrendous penalty taker. So there could be some options out there, but 40 million, like 40 million is not a lot to get a good striker nowadays. Like you look at Man United with Højlund, and obviously like, you've got your Man United tax. It's going to end up with about 60 mil for a player who's played half a decent season for Atlanta. Do you know what I mean? Like I just don't see how they're going to get a good option. So if Mitrovic goes, I'm not sure they even sign like a starting striker. Like he might be a young up and coming striker with Vinicius being the main man. And he did okay when he came in. So for 5 million, he might be worth a go. Like especially for like first sub, like rather than going for like a Surridge or McAtee or any other 4.5 million forward who you know is barely going to play. Is it worth going for that extra 0.5 million more and getting a Vinicius, especially if Mitrovic does go? I think it's probably worth it in that case. So they're the players who have caught my interest, and players who are a little bit overhyped or have lost a bit of interest in. Do you think I'm missing anyone? Do you think it's justified that Jesus is down there? Can you see why I'm looking at someone like an Ollie Watkins as opposed to a Jesus? Leave a comment down below. Let's have a little chat. Right, mates, that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. So today we went through players that I'm keeping an eye on in pre-season who have caught my interest, or players that I've lost a little bit of interest in, particularly for my game week 1 team on my drafts kind of moving forward. So if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and leave a comment down below. Tell your mum, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell your postman. Peace and love. Have a good day.